You alright, folks, and welcome back. I know it's me on screen in all my freshly shaven glory. Basically, I've got a green screen now. Well, you can't see the green bit, but you can certainly see the screen bit. And yeah, it's better than what's behind it. Let's put it that way. So you're probably going to see my ugly mug a bit more in videos and hopefully on streams. I want to actually get a schedule for that, so I am actually plotting out days and times that I can stream, so hopefully you'll be seeing me and that going forward. Don't hold me to that necessarily. I'm planning on it. Whether or not I act on it, it's a different story. So, let's crack on with the video, shall we? Otherwise I'll ramble myself into oblivion. The pre-patch, yeah. If you've seen any of the last videos I did, they were on the pre-patch, and basically I said it wasn't ready. It should not have been launched, and now it's here. What do I think? Was I right? Yes. Sadly, I still think it was in a bit of a crappy state to be launched. There were a lot of bugs. There still are. There were even some bugs that I didn't expect or even know about that were quite painful for a little while there. The biggest one going into the pre-patch was guild chat didn't work. It was yeah, it didn't. So if you played the first, I guess, 12 hours on EU, I'm not sure about the US, but it was certainly a thing on EU, where guild chat just didn't work. You couldn't see it in your chat box. If you opened up the guild tab, pane, whatever, you could see it in the little window there, so you could sort of chat with people, but you didn't really have that up if you were out and about doing something. You know, that was its own little instant messenger inside the game. It prevents you from actually playing the game, so it wasn't exactly intuitive. So yeah, about the first 12 hours of the launch on EU, we didn't have guild chat. So that was a bit painful, but they did address that. They did sort that very quickly. So a lot of class bugs did persist, as I thought they might. Mages and paladins actually came off the best in that. Their classes were bugged, but in fun ways. Like the damage fire mages were doing to ICC bosses was ungodly. It was beautiful fun, and it was ungodly. So I'm not too peeved on that. That's the sort of bug that you kind of expect from a pre-patch, and they're the kind of bugs you hope for like a week or so you can enjoy some insanity. Like one of our rep paladins, for example. Well, rep paladins kind of had uncapped AoE. It was really stupid. Their seal of command, or whatever it's called now, was just proccing infinitely alongside the tiny abomination trinket. And at one point, one of our rets in my Wednesday raid, he did close to 1,000,000 damage off of a single button press, because I think his Divine Storm or whatever procced 8,000 times. It was stupid. It was so much damage and so much shit going on in 1 second, it actually lagged my PC out. So that was happening. Not too peeved. They've fixed that now, actually, and the mage issues as well, which is kind of a shame. I was looking forward to going nuts on my mage, but hey-ho. Not too fast again. Fun bugs like that last couple of days, no one really minds. But yeah, just all manner of things weren't working and were bugged to hell, and it all just rather felt like an extension of the beta and the PTR, and that's not great. But what makes that even worse is that Blizzard, I say worse, it makes the beta and the PTR worse by proxy, is that Blizzard were actually responding to feedback and actually sorting the bugs. Now, that's amazing. They're communicating with us. That's awesome. Not knocking that. But it does really highlight just how ignored the beta and PTR were. They weren't doing anything with it. And instead they are now running around, putting out fires, full-on damage control after the game's gone live, which, that's not good. I'm glad they are communicating with us and that bugs and stuff are now being fixed. That's a positive. But it's a negative that it took them until the live game to do it. This should have been, or most of this should have been addressed in the beta, but it wasn't. So yeah, this This pre-patch shouldn't have gone live, and it needed a little extra time in the oven for them to actually sort out the bugs. Another bug that was really annoying, because Children's Week went live either Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember which, and one of the bugs for the Eastern Kingdoms calendar one wasn't working. You couldn't actually complete it, so you couldn't actually do the event, which was annoying as hell. But again, they fixed it and they even extended the holiday by an extra week. So it's Children's Fortnight, which is actually pretty cool of them. They don't normally do that. I remember how badly they messed up the Lovers in the Air thing, like with the dungeon finder and whatnot, and they just didn't say a bloody word on it. They was like, it's disabled now, crack on. And no extension, no nothing, no disaster. But yeah, like I said, this does just feel like what the beta and the PTR should have been. I'm glad they're fixing stuff, but they should have been fixing this stuff weeks ago, not after it's gone live. And I know a lot of people in the comments and people who reach out to me in game like to call me a doomer and say that I'm just complaining for the sake of it. I'm not. I want this thing to launch, and I want it to launch well. I want it to launch fixed and complete, but I don't want it to launch so badly that I would be willing to accept a completely knackered product. At the end of the day, if you're happy to eat shit and call it caviar, that's great for you. I'm not. I want this to be good, and it wasn't good. It wasn't in a great state. A lot of classes didn't work, there were game-breaking bugs, and there was a lot of features that we didn't have any information about because it just weren't talking to us. One of them was guilds. Obviously, I said guild chat was broken, and they gutted the guild system as much as they could without outright removing it. And we got next to no word as to really why. And a lot of the guild perks were just given out to everyone baseline, whether or not you're guilded. And I said in the last video I did, I don't get why that was the case. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. But it is what's happened, and Blizzard haven't really explained as to why. They've said it's happening. Okay, that's great, but can you guys please give us some context as to why you've done this? And on guilds, they are continuing to fiddle with them. I know a lot of people out there are farming a reputation to try and get the heirlooms that you can take up to level 85. As of today, which is the Friday, those heirlooms have been nerfed. They no longer go up to 85. They cap out at 80. Now, obviously, this could change going into the full launch. Obviously, it could. But I don't see why that would have been altered after the fact, because up until today, they clearly showed as going up to level 85, but now they only show going up to level 80. So there has been a change somewhere. Whether or not that's intended or another bug, we don't know, because Blizzard don't communicate with us about these things. It just happens, and we're just left scratching our asses trying to work it out. Now, not everything in the pre-patch is a buggy mess and, sky is falling. There are some good things that have actually come from it, because we just know what's happening now. It's not necessarily a good thing on Blizzard's part, it's just that we can see what's happened despite the lack of communication. Flying is a big one. They did say that flying was going to come to the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor in the pre-patch at the 11th hour. Up until that point, it had been made very clear it wasn't going to be there. On all of their launch material, it was very clearly stated as it was coming in the full launch. People didn't really understand why. It made no sense, but hey-ho. But they did change their minds. Maybe they realised it was a bit of a stupid thing to keep out, or they needed to placate people while they fixed all the bugs. I'm leaning towards the latter, I'm not going to lie. I imagine it was a diversionary tactic, so we'd all go off and dig holes in the planet, doing archaeology and whatnot, because there's no way in hell I'd have touched that profession if I had to do it on the ground. That would have hurt so bad. And the 310% mount speed actually works as I thought it should. Now, if you've watched any of my recent videos, you know I've kind of gone on about the mount speed issue quite a lot, which I know some people don't fully understand. Go away, Discord, I'm busy. Yeah, I know some folk don't understand why that annoyed me. Well, firstly, if it didn't come out working as it did in original Cataclysm, that's a lot of gold to have to spend to get back to the stage I'm at in Wrath. But it was just symptomatic of a larger issue with Cata's development, and it still kind of is, in that we know how this worked back in the day, we have evidence of how it should work in Cataclysm, yet on the testing environments it wasn't working as we expected, and Blizzard didn't say a word on it. So we're just all left there speculating, wondering if it's going to be sorted, and nothing happens. But it launched and it was working, so thumbs up, I suppose, but I don't understand why they couldn't put out a post saying, oh, by the way, we know a lot of people are wondering about the mount speed thing. It will work as it did originally. It's just not in the beta right now. Fine, fair enough. I'd accept that. But they didn't. So, yeah, communication has been quite bad. It's still not great, but they are actually putting out posts and stuff with their little hot fixes now, which is what they should have been doing throughout the beta. But I suppose in order to do that, you actually had to hotfix stuff, which they didn't really do in the beta. So swings and roundabouts, I suppose. But yeah, it is just it is a buggy mess. It is. It wasn't ready, but they are actually working on it. So over the next 3 weeks, you can probably expect to see a lot of the issues that are in the pre-patch right now bugger off. If, however, they fix a few things and then go back to sitting on their brains, the Cata launch is going to be a bloody disaster. So I really hope they've learnt from this. I doubt it, because they never learn. But I hope they can see that how they've handled the beta and the pre-patch on the PTR up to now. It was bad. It was bad. It didn't launch as it should have. And if the full game launches like this in a couple of weeks, it will only just reinforce that they couldn't give a monkeys about Cata, which I've gone over in depth in other videos if you are curious about my thoughts on that. But yeah, that's pretty much the pre-patch right now. There isn't much to do because we haven't got a pre-patch event like the Scourge invasion or whatnot. We should have had some sort of elemental invasion uprising thing, but we didn't get that. Blizzard saw fit to completely cut the Cataclysm pre-patch event, and again, they haven't said a word on it, so sod us, I suppose. But yeah, again, shambles, but they are working on it. Hopefully this is gonna be sorted by the time that the game goes live fully in, 17, 16, 18 days? I don't know. In about 3 weeks. Yeah, in about 3 weeks. But yeah, that's that. So, let me know your own thoughts on the pre-patch. Maybe you don't think it's that bad and I'm just singing out of my arse because I know a lot of you do. But tough. It's my channel. I get to sing out my arse. It's kind of the perks. But if you so kind, like, sub, share your pals and so on, that would be grand. But yeah, have a good one, folks. Bye for now.